Hello everybody. Today is June 23rd. I'm doing one of the other book reviews that I promised like way back in April or May. But before I get started, I definitely want to go ahead and tell you guys that I did do some twists that were smaller than my usual ones, or at least smaller for me. So I'm going to see how long I can actually keep these in my hair. So this will be a very interesting process. But anyway, back to the book review. So I did a book review on Grow It, and it was written by Chikoro, and it was written in 2009. And please excuse me while I look off to the left to read my notes. It's so funny that I read this book and then I subscribed to Kimmy Too like maybe a week or two ago, and this was one of the books that she also read. So at first when I read this book, I wasn't that impressed, but we'll get to that later, okay? So basically with the Grow It process, or with Grow It by Chikoro, she explains the process of growing Afro textured hair. And she does this by having 6 separate steps in the steps to growing more hair. So it's we'll get to that later. So yeah, it's detangling, cleansing, conditioning, moisturizing, protecting your hair, and growing your hair. So those are her 6 steps. That's how she develops this. And she develops this system not necessarily to grow hair. As you begin to really research hair growth and things like that, it's not really the hair growth, because everybody's hair grows. The issue becomes your hair is breaking off, and so you can't see the evidence of your hair growing because it keeps breaking off. So she makes this process in order to show in order to preserve your hair strands for as long as possible before basically either they break off, or not break off, but shed on their natural on their natural accord, or maybe if something crazy happens, if you do have to trim it off. So basically this book is really for people that are looking for a natural way, a natural inexpensive way to grow hair. There's so many, like I've said before, oils, peels, shots. I don't know if they're shots, but I'm going to go on a limb and say shots, and hair products that really promise to grow hair. It's just a term that is thrown around very loosely. As I've just explained, there's really no faster way. It's just really technically preserving hair for as long as possible. So anyway, some of the weaknesses of this book was that I kind of felt like at sometimes she was a little repetitive. Sometimes I felt like she was saying the same thing over and over again, but maybe that was just me. And then another one is that this whole book has no pictures. You guys see my highlights? Okay, anyway. But anyway, it has no pictures. And I'm not one of those people that need pictures to be interested in a book. It's just the fact that I like to sometimes see everybody, her handling her hair and how she does it. So I would have loved to see more pictures. I do like that she states from the very beginning of her book that this all is from a slanted bias position, because it's how she grew her hair. And some of it, of course, she does cite examples. And that was like one of the other things that really impressed me was at the end. Excuse me. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yes, at the end, she has a list of references. And so if you really like this book, you can go and check these people out. Okay? Anyway, so that was another thing. But as much as she was repetitive, she was very, 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 very detailed. And I like that because she, like, for example, in her detangling process, she says when to, she emphasizes dry detangling a lot, but sometimes it's like you need to do wet detangling. And she actually breaks it up into when to do an oil-based detangle, like where maybe you use conditioner or something like that, and when to use a water-based conditioner, or when you use water to detangle your hair. So I really like that. And then she addresses the mental aspect of growing hair, which is step 6, grow your hair. That's when she really like gets into the mental process of breaking down barriers of what you think your hair can do and what it can't do. Having, the blinders and other people saying this or that, or just yourself. I mean, she also, says, what's the easiest hair length to grow? And she says it's actually your shoulder length. A lot of people can get to the shoulder length, but then when it comes to the part right before your waist, then it gets harder. And then from there, it's even harder because, like I said, you're always having to protect your hair. So anyway, yeah, this was the book. I have not made any plans yet to. First of all, I need to reread this book because when I first read this book, I was still being hard-headed, and you can reference back to my old video. And this is when I really was not trying to do protective styles all the time. I was co-washing my hair like every 3 days, so I was, washing my hair and cleansing my hair and keeping my hair clean quite frequently. But I just wasn't going back and protecting it and wasn't realizing all the damage that I was doing. I mean, it's all damage, but I guess I'm trying to make, my damage not seem as bad as other people's damage. And so, yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I was still damaging, but I guess not in the worst of ways, I guess you could say. So anyway, I do recommend this book after I stopped being hard-headed. I learned some things and all that good jazz. I would recommend reading this book just to kind of help you guys, give you a guide, give you a basis. Instead of trying to scour the internet, some of the things that you would be looking for are right in this book. So anyway, I'm definitely about to go ahead and end this one. And that leaves the last book on my list that I need to do, which is Thank God I'm Natural. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I can get it up before the end of the month. So bye, you guys.